Hello, I'm Yana, and this is my channel, Yana the Heretic. And the last time we were together and talking, it was just before the Gregorian New Year, and I had asked some questions about whether or not people felt seated in the calendar that was brought to us. A lot of people think that the Gregorian calendar was outdated, and that is because it was created by the Pope in order for people to pay taxes and to know when to pay taxes. And since we're going through many nationwide shifts till we get to 2027 and onward, 2027 is kind of when it starts to make more sense and settle. We will also most likely be seeing people that disregard the old school ceremonies, rituals, festivities. If that is you, you are not alone. And I personally am finding value in having a calendar that is based off of the moon cycles and how many we have in a year, as well as formatting a human design calendar as well. That makes a lot more sense. So obviously different cultures don't celebrate the new year at the same time. But regardless, since we are in the northern west hemisphere is where I am, we had our new year 3 days ago, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that whatever was felt was real, real as fuck. It feels good regardless to know that the rabbit year is behind us, and now we're going into the wood snake year, a year of wisdom. I don't call myself Creepy G for no reason. I like to say in my music that it is Slytherin beats, because I'll be slithering through spaces as a heretic does. And just concocting all these bits and pieces that you've gathered that is your theme or opinion of your year. So here we are, here we're landing. And this week we're going to be talking about Gate 38, the Gate of the Fighter, or opposition, and what that feels and looks like. I am late, and there happens to be this magic that a writer has, or somebody that entertains or comes out and talks about the things that they have witnessed. And for me, there's been so much to process at the end of the year, and I'm an emotional being, so I'm still working through a lot of discipline to be able to focus and show and appear, online in a professional manner that is suitable. But I also talk about the hustle culture, and the hustle culture needs to definitely balance out. And I find that if that is the case, then I am welcoming myself to be emotional and to process all of this data that happened at the end of the year. The Gate of the Fighter. The Gate of the Fighter, I have two main people in my life that have this gate, and one of them is my partner. And I also had my brother over. He's 18 years old. We're 12 years apart, and there was a point where I raised him, and 18 is such a wild time, because he's not quite a adult and he's not quite a teenager anymore. It's a very hybrid sort of time, and I feel like in those years, you know, he can vastly change. So the reason why I bring my brother Nikita up is because he is a boxer. So, you know, and he's kind of figuring out where he's supposed to be in life, and like many 18-year-olds are doing, right? So it was awesome to have a fighter, you know, with me, and he definitely threw some punches, you know, so I was like a fucking, you know, what are they called? I forget what they're called, but I was punching bag. I was a punching bag this fucking, you know, New Year, basically. But that's okay, you know, I can handle it. Regardless, I wanted to talk about the other two people in my life that have gate 38. My partner has gate 38, and for the longest time, like, I'm telling you guys, like, I had such a huge epiphany once I started writing about this gate. And I already have done the data and I looked over the chart, but you know, like the nth time you fucking resurface something, it really lands, and when it lands, it's there, you know. So I was always having issues with him when it came down to listening, or just being like present for social matters, because I'm a 40-37 ego definition, and that is my son. So that is very much me, which means that I am all about community. I'm here to find a community in my life that is equally displacing their tasks. So it feels like everyone is aware and everyone keeps in mind the effort that is being brought and put in. So equal giving and receiving. So I'm all about community, right? And, you know, I like to collect data of the people I'm around, and I like to talk to people. I like to feel inspired by the people that are around me, and to show myself and to listen. I like just love listening to people, and you know, the revelations that they have come across. And I find that my partner has the gate of deafness, and that is a part of the 38's channel. I've found so much value in this, and like had such a big moment realizing that, you know, minds are constructed way differently of how we process data and how much data we can actually process. So this is not a mind or head or ajna gate. This is a root gate. So there is in itself a pressure, and the root gate is at the very bottom. It's considered like your root chakra. So it's a pressure gate to actually act on the things. So I don't have my root defined, but my partner does. He has the whole channel 3828. So I don't feel like I have all the time in the world. I feel like I must go out into the world and grab onto all these things that are of value, because I feel constantly like I'm going to be stripped of those things, and I have to do, you know, all these tasks to feel fulfilled in my day. That's a very generator sort of move as well. And realizing that, you know, the 38s, not only do they have the gate of deafness, or one of the three gates of deafness, it is also just being extremely stubborn and very serious about the things that you believe in. It is having your own values, and if like something doesn't fit or seem right, there's no fucking point of wasting your time. You know, there's no point of, you know, trying to fight a fight that isn't yours. You know, it is about actually you know, fighting to be yourself, and they're always going to fight for their independence and who they are. So as I was doing all this writing, like everything that fell into place while I was doing it, like it came from the fucking ether. And I was watching something about a person's path on a mountain, and them being able to actually succeed climbing that mountain, opposed to asking other people how to get up the mountain. That is the difference between, you know, me and my partner, or me and the 38. I definitely am interested in how people did things. I find clarity through other people and their perspective, and that helps me land on my own individual perspective. Whereas like the 38, they just have their own perspective naturally. It's like they built it up from scratch. They don't need to hear anybody else's story to get up to the mountain. They're just gonna go and get up to the mountain however fucking long it takes, you know, and they're not gonna ask anybody any questions. They're not trying to detour. They're not trying to necessarily do anything that anyone else has ever done. So that obviously brings the opposition, and it's almost like you want the opposition. It is the drive to oppose something that is very much not you. So there becomes this very serious nature. And, you know, sometimes it could come off rude, or like, you know, this person isn't listening to me, they're not interested in me, and they have better things to do. So I was visualizing that in our social environment, and then realizing that, you know, hey, like, if my partner doesn't have the energy to actually like be social, that's totally fine, you know. And it is something to honor, because it's really just like a individually built stature, and I do appreciate and honor that so much. My best friend also has this gate, and they're not trying to fit into these social norms, and I super honor that, because, you know, like with everyone trying to capitalize on the same idea or the manifestation culture, and like, oh, like conscious entrepreneurship, and I appreciate that, but there's too much of the same fucking thing going on, and it gets very like, what am I supposed to, like, whose course do I take, you know? Like, I'm supposed to collect all this data from all these sources, and, you know, it's like the 38s just go and like blank slate it. They're like, no, you know, I'm not gonna subscribe to this, and I'm just gonna do it my way, even if it takes me longer, even if it doesn't require all these like boosts and ads and all that shit, you know, like you still are going to get to your destination. It's just going to be different, and it's a lot more tight knit that way. And I just appreciate and honor that works, you know, because I don't feel like necessarily that is the same for me. But luckily, I get to actually filter this energy through my aura, so I do feel a lot more like I can say no and no thank you. And that's what the benefits of being an aura with someone is not wasting your time, you know, really fighting for the right fight, you know, kill for the right reason, kill for the generational future oasis or nirvana, you know, like just being able to stand for the cause that means everything. And although this isn't an awareness, the root is not a place of awareness. It's a fuel center. It's your main fuel center. It's still a drive, so the fuel to know, because when it comes down to understanding your individuality and your values, you have to know a lot of things and have a lot of different perspective shifts. So obviously I'm not saying that these people filter out everything that somebody else has created, but they're very divisive, and they really have a certain flavor of information that they want to obtain. So with that said, you know, this is another gate in Vishnu, and Vishnu is the preserver, and we talked about that in the last couple weeks. And the preserver, so this is like such an exalted state, you know, of Vishnu. This is a very like the exalted pride of why, you know, life is to be lived. And it's intense, you know, form of Vishnu. As you know, many Hindu gods, especially the main ones, they shapeshift into other beings in order to teach lessons or in order to save the day or be a hero. So this is a hero gate as well. And Vishnu, this is the archetype of Vihara in Vishnu's different depictions of who he becomes. So Vihara is the boar, and it is a really big boar, and the reason why he shapeshifted into it is because a demon swooped down Hiranyaksha, I believe. I'm butchering these names, perhaps, forgive me. But the demon, he swooped down and he grabbed the earth goddess, and he basically hid her in the cosmic ocean. And Vishnu was like, yeah, you're not gonna do that. So you're not gonna just take away earth, you know, and devalue earth. So he became a boar, and with his giant tusks he reached down into the water and picked up the earth goddess, and he killed the demon. And this is, you know, the real potent soil of the story is like, you are a hero when you have to be. Otherwise, you're fucking neutral. You don't care about anyone else's fight unless it's for the right reason. There is a downside where, you know, 38 is only hooked up to its polar, which is 28. And that is the channel of struggle, and the 28 really helps the 38 know what to fight for. Otherwise, just on its own, if you have this gate in your definition, you can find that you're fighting with people, but you don't really know why. and you don't really have like a reason, you know, like a real potent reason. So you end up wasting your time. You end up wasting all faculties of your being, energy, whatever it is, and putting yourself in almost like a dangerous place of depletion or whatever else may happen from these arguments or this drama. So try to tune in, you know, be aware. That's why this weather is so fucking important, is because once you have this awareness about yourself, you can actually fill in the gaps. And, you know, just when you see this type of thing happening for you, you can actually shut it down, or just be like, yeah, that's actually, like, I don't have enough data for me to actually have an emotion or a feeling about this. Or I just, you know, it's a waste of time. I find myself having like a lot of trouble just shutting down the mind most of the time, you know, and that's why we're here in human design land, is to make the mind go into passenger. So there are certain fights that, you know, you want to bring something up that bothered you and it was extremely subtle, and, you know, it made your day completely derail, or it was just a fucking waste of time. Like, let yourself just let it go, because most of the time you're gonna fucking forget why you were even mad, and you won't waste your fucking time. So with that said, we have actually a lot of channels that have been moving in our auric fields, and it's all about mutation, right? Because we're in the quarter of mutation. So we had the genius to freak, we had the channel of transitoriness, so desiring to experience something new. We have the money channel, so the money line was activated. Let's see, we have the channel of curiosity, the channel of initiation, the channel of emoting, so just knowing your moodiness, you know, and being able to be okay with the highs and the lows. I highly recommend getting the Human Design app, so you can actually check it out yourself. To be honest, it updated, and I'm not a huge fucking fan of the new update, and that's why it derailed me as well, because I don't like, once a system is good, you don't want it to change, and then when it does, it's extremely annoying to deal with, so it makes me fucking mad and emotional. But we still got gate 38 out for you, and let me know, you know, like, I think that a lot of people, once they listen to something, they're just like hesitant to ask questions, or they're hesitant to like share their opinion, or, you know, what it was that they saw happen for them in certain transits. So feel free to fucking message me and just let me know, like, what did the gate of the fighter look like to you? Because it is a potent thing, you know, it is a potent time, like going from December 30th to January 4th. Like, what does that look like? What have you experienced? What are you fighting for, you know? Who's the hero in your journey? Is it you? You know, I'm always an open ear to listening, and I hope this information was of use to you. If you have any desire to look me up and get yourself your own chart, please visit electromagneticidentity.com. It's electromagnetic-identity.com, and book yourself a chart reading. And last but not least, I want to deliver the questions of the week. You'll be seeing me in the next day or so, because I will be doing gate 54, so I am not too far away. The questions to ask. So What is the most meaningful thing that you will live and die for? What is worth a sacrifice? So if there's something that you feel like is extremely important to you and you're not actually like working towards it, or even if you are, have you like explored all of the facets of it? Have you discovered every single wall and line and whatever curve, you know, of it? What is worth dying for? What is worth living for? And the next question: if you could depict yourself as a warrior and you could shapeshift into this being, name 3 things you feel that you are emanating naturally. Who are you? And I'm a huge art activist, and I just say, you know, draw yourself as this warrior. It is a new year. It's a great way to kick off your new year. It's just like, be the hero in your journey. Who in your life is so stubborn? Can you step into this 38 perspective and see the reasons why? Do you value yourself and your energy and time in the same way? So that's the huge benefit of learning from those around you, is like, how do these people have such great boundaries? Do I want to have that same value in myself and value in my time? The last question we got is, there is an interplay of boundaries that are like revolving doors. Do you feel more open to receiving information or influence at this time? Or do you feel more closed off to the world? So there has always been this like confusing depiction of whether or not boundaries are good or if they're not good. It really depends on your human design. It really depends on if you're more individual or if you are more tribal. We are heading towards the age of individualism in our planetary transits as the years move forward, as we near 2027. So we are going to experience more people that want to really be more independent and individual rather than having a tribal whole. So how do you feel about that? You know, do you kind of hold yourself to boundaries, or do you let people in? Is that healthy for you? You know, it really depends on if you feel liberated or if you feel drained. So not everyone's the same. Everyone is completely different from one another, and this is the science of differentiation for you. And I appreciate you watching this. Have a lovely time. I will be seeing you very soon.